Without an update to Payday 3 since launch, the community has essentially had its way with all 8 of the initial heists, finding new strategies to break the game and speed our way through all of them with minimal effort. According to the ever-reliable Urban Dictionary, this is what the phrase cheesing in video games is all about. A strategy that seeks to provide means for overcoming a challenge, not by engaging with the challenge itself, but rather by bypassing it altogether, and that is what breaking Payday 3 is all about. 1. To take out my frustration of having to play the same 8 heists for the past month. Let's be honest, we all know these inside and out by now, but the only way I can feel like the truly dominant party in this messed up relationship is by proving to each one individually that I can break it from the inside out. That genuinely sounds like I need Payday 3 relationship counseling. Moving swiftly on, 2. I want to present these methods to those of you who might still be struggling with the game on the hardest difficulty. At this point, Overkill is reasonably trivial for most, but I know, especially when it comes to solo stealth, there's still a lot of frustration out there, and many of these methods will help you to start mastering Payday 3's mechanics. And finally, I think at this point it's probably worth bringing these heist-breaking issues to the devs' front door. If the update process is going to remain as sluggish as it has been so far, it's better that they know how we're cheesing their game to oblivion sooner rather than later. That said, this video is in somewhat of a challenge run format, but the rules are a hell of a lot more open. Essentially, all I need to do is complete every heist in the game on Overkill difficulty without really interacting with them as intended. This can range from skipping over key objectives to utilising broken enemy interactions and even messing with the geometry on some heists. Expect to learn something new and blow off some steam today as we take a closer look at what patch 1.0 Payday 3 really looked like. First up, the beta heist, No Rest for the Wicked. People have had even longer to learn how to cheese this one, so it really is an art form at this point. First things first, you'll need a specific security room RNG to pull this off massless. Essentially, if the security guard spawns in this location towards the side of the bank, the room will not be designated as secure, the only example of this in the game. As such, you can simply wander in, get yourself spotted and escorted out, at which point the cams will turn off forever. You can speed this up with a quick radio hack, and within minutes, risk-free, you'll have turned off all the cams on the heist. Our next objectives are to turn off the power, find the correct colour switch and gain access to the vault room. These objectives can't really be circumvented, but they present little to no risk when unmasked, as the worst that will happen is you get escorted outside. As such, I was quickly able to unlock a path to the vault door before unleashing the strongest cheddar yet by using an online code guesser to brute force the code. In my experience, the code is always comprised of 2, 3 or 4 different numbers, meaning there will be 14, 36 or 24 potential combinations respectively. You can try one of these codes roughly every 10 seconds to completely avoid having to mask up and face the toughest objective on this heist, which on Overkill is to grab a bank manager from upstairs and carry him down to the vault door before heading back up to the side office to unlock the code. The only punishment for attempting wrong codes is that a bank employee will be sent over to see what's going on, but civilian class detection in Payday 3 is highly abusable, so you can just slip around them if they come sniffing. Whilst brute forcing can be time consuming, it sure as hell is safer than the alternative and allows you to remain unmasked, which is absolutely crucial for the final cheese of this heist, that being the completely brazen duffel bag escape through the front door. To be fair, this unmasked mechanic is intended, but it sure as hell looks funny and requires a bit of suspension of disbelief as I chuck all my bags to the crew AI to assist in carrying them right the way out to the van for escape. Alright, that was easy. On to the only loud locked heist in the game right now, Road Rage, which despite not being a stealth cheese, still allows us to break a fair few systems to comparatively trivialise it on Overkill. First up, I ride on the front of the van these days, even on Overkill, as it's surprisingly easy to top up your armour on here, and stay safe simply by one-shotting everything in sight with the SCAR or M14. This is a kill or be killed strategy I learnt from the solo speedrun record, so do keep that in mind. It might not be the easiest thing to pull off, in fact I was forced to abandon ship halfway through and return to the most broken of strategies on this heist as found on my Overkill solo run, wherein this Southside escape location becomes a bastion that the cop AI simply cannot comprehend, refusing to challenge us in here and eventually just stopping spawning altogether for whatever reason. The only enemies you need to deal with are the snipers, but they shoot so slowly it's hardly a big deal. Once you circumvented combat for long enough during the assault, you'll experience a lull in the wave during which you can again return to move the van along. Once it reaches the elevated platform, this is when we get a chance to show off a new cheese altogether. Essentially, the skills Medic Aced and Combat Medic when playing solo on Overkill are completely overpowered, and can lead to virtually permanent invulnerability for the player. simply by reviving a crewmate, which you can do constantly thanks to how rapidly your boys go down on this difficulty. You gain 5 seconds of damage immunity, which you can then repeatedly prop by saving the AI over and over again, allowing you to stay active at the objectives here, even on Overkill. Personally, I found myself slightly overwhelmed and having to return to my safe hidey hole once or twice to break the spawns, which I suppose is why I'm not the speedrun world record holder for this heist, but that's still cheesy enough in my opinion, as I moved only the precious metals over to the escape chopper for a clean and simple road rage overkill clear. Dirty Ice is one of the most varied heists in the game, hence why I have 2 cheesy methods for this one. The first is actually intended, but just feels incredibly unfair, as I use the grifter skills to shoplift every piece of jewelry in the front of the store unopposed. To do this, I grab an initial bag, slip into the back to find or brute force the code before breaking the security with the bag distraction glitch, meaning I can steal everything from the front of the store with impunity. This gets even easier if you're intentionally spotted by this guard, hack him and then set the store to search, giving you even more space to steal the goods. Even funnier, once set to search, you can chuck the bags of jewelry around freely as the guards can't get even more suspicious than they already are. Stealing everything here nets you around 68% completion, meaning you just need the extra 30% from the large diamond and another 2 of loose loot from the VIP suite to clear this heist without much fuss. I tend to go loud after stealing everything in the front, just to speed up those final 2 objectives. However, we can do even better than that on this heist via the manager cheese. Essentially, once you learn how her mechanics function, it's easy as hell to keep her around for the entire heist. The scaling timer for her leaving the map only activates when you step inside the store, so if you instead head around the back, brute force the code to enter the basement and slip into the side room with the blackmail evidence, you will have completely frozen her, as she won't leave the heist once this is in your possession. From there, I once again break the camera operator, mark the lead guard and head into the manager's office to call her into the VIP room for blackmailing time. This allows us to easily open the jewelry workshop and start cleaning the 5 bags found within the VIP area. When clean, these things give 20% credit towards the required loot completion value, meaning this is already enough to secure a heist completion. Just funnel them through the building, onto the roof and into the van. Easy. And what about the lead guard, I hear you cry? As soon as you open the VIP room, he loves to patrol inside, creating a fair bit of additional risk. Well, just snap his neck with the cover-up skill right now, and he will be out for good at the cost of just a single pager, definitely trivializing this heist in stealth. We don't need to say much about Rock the Cradle. This is probably the most cheesed and broken heist in the game at launch. People have been speedrunning it in sub 2 minutes since week 1, and I also showcased how you can do that all the way back then. For a quick refresher, run up to the front door and activate Rush. You can lockpick it open before the bouncers comprehend what's happening. From there, sprint across to the VIP basement, steal this guy's keycard in plain sight and use it quickly on the door. This is a crime and will prompt you to get cuffed. Getting cuffed actually resets the AI of any security already chasing you, meaning you can break out using the slippery skill and quickly head into the basement. Guards will be set to search, which I actually find makes the next step even easier, as you can sprint across to the upper walkway and into the vent system. The crypto wallet can spawn in one of 3 rooms, all are easily accessible when the guards are searching all over the place. On this run I got lucky and found it in the first location. After finding a letter and a colour, head back to the switchboard, flip the corresponding switch and return to the PC to unlock the wallet. Steal the crypto, chuck it over either fence and sneak your way back up to the escape area using throwing knives to distract the guards away from your position, rapidly cheesing this heist in under 3 minutes. Or hell, if you don't like dealing with searching guards, you can just loop these 2 lemmings around the bar area by making noise in the manager's office to steal the keycard without the need for any sort of cuffing. This really is the OG Payday 3 cheese, a little bit like the old C4 rushes on Ukrainian job. Under the surface is probably the only heist in this video that doesn't have a clear method of breaking it, at least solo. Of course, we can break the camera security using the hack and smack tech to save a pager whilst getting rid of cams, but other than that, this is a reasonably vanilla heist. We can use the rooftop vent entrances to skip the need for QR codes and make the laser puzzles easier in my opinion, but other than that, the way I like to play this one is by setting up with a few initial stealth objectives that can be time consuming before rushing the Wi-Fi hack by distracting most guards on the map with throwing knives, which sets us up for a quick escape in loud. You see, stealing the loot in stealth is a massive pain without the zipline, but because Bile arrives so quickly on this heist, we can just move it all to the rooftops instead. Even on Overkill, with a stealth build, this one can be salvageable as you just need to access the Room 1 painting, 2 blood splattered paintings, and the Ladette painting, which doesn't even need to be the correct one to clear the heist, meaning the whole spectrophotometer objective can be skipped altogether. This is achievable solo if you know what you're doing and get a fair way through the hacks in stealth, but for best results I recommend taking this one online with a full crew. If you split up objectives, you can rush right through the front door, have 3 teammates go for the downstairs hack whilst the 4th unlocks the manager's office to call out the blood paintings and access the flash drive, at which point the downstairs hack should be complete, allowing you to pick up the first painting and quickly call in Bile, once the other 3 again complete the upstairs Wi-Fi hack. From there, you just need to locate the final 3 paintings by dropping in from the roof to secure all 4 and breeze your way through this heist in just over 2 minutes if ran optimally. Heist, pretty trivialized if you ask me. Golden Shark is another heist with minimal but effective cheese strats. I don't even bother with finding the HR room anymore, as I find it's faster just to quickly locate additional QR codes and unlock the potential keycard rooms immediately. This grants access to the upper floor, where we can brute force the code to avoid having to interact with the security room hack. Once into the vault, I like to remain unmasked, as it makes the next 2 objectives safer, as you turn off the lasers and run to the manager's computer to gain access to the vault's loot. Then I mask up and break the security guard with the hack and smack glitch again. This saves 2 radios, which can be used on the guard in the vault room who will prevent you from running otherwise, and strangely enough the guard on the rooftop, as I'm going to be showcasing how you can cheese stealth on this heist even if you don't have the elevator trick asset. All you need to do is move the bags to the roof and throw them over the edge where this invisible wall ends. This will dump the loot right at the entrance to the parking lot. Guards can spot them from here, which is what I want to happen as I find it easy to escape when search is active, but you might want to drop them further along if you prefer security to follow their usual patrol routes. Once all the bags are in place, you're going to want to head down to the basement yourself to start securing the loot in the van. I generally use my throwing knife supply here to keep the 2 downstairs guards very interested with that wall over there, away from where I'm moving the bags, allowing for a quick and easy stealth clear without having to go down the elevator shaft at all. 99 boxes is probably the most busted heist in the game right now. If you know, you know, but in terms of cheese, it's also quite pungent. First up, for whatever reason, I can tell you this wasn't the case in the Gamescom build, the security room is unlocked on Overkill. You're meant to need a keycard for this, but the door is just open for some reason. This makes dealing with the cams absolutely trivial, again leaning on the hack and smack method. Before masking up though, I like to hack the east and west guards for their QR codes, as their pathing is quite easy to follow. Now here is where the definition of cheese gets a little sketchy. There is actually an incredibly precise method to skip the PC hack and zipline by just jumping over the fence. The CUM shuffle involves opening the door on this container by the storage yard, climbing to the very tip of that door before closing it and using the momentum to vault over the yellow tarpaulin and access the loot containers immediately. Except I attempted this maneuver over 100 times and succeeded just the once, which begs the question, at what point does cheese go off? When the method is so precise and challenging to perform that it's simply easy to just play the game normally, I guess you're better off playing normally for this section, although no, this is an option for skip enthusiasts with better motor skills than I. Once you're into the storage yard, this is where the real fun begins though. Here I love to throw out a loot bag and put the guards into search. Yes, this will make them jump on top of containers, which looks hilarious, but if you're using throwing knives, it can also enable you to control basically every security guard on this section of the map and send them away from the dreaded Wi-Fi circles. In my experience, this makes unlocking and securing the loot infinitely easier in stealth, and you'll be able to run around freely even though this area is set to secure. Speaking of securing that loot, you don't even need to run it into the warehouse. Just walk up to the container from the outside, throw the bag against it in this sort of region, and it'll be sucked straight in, saving a little time and effort in the process. After repeating this for the second loot bag, you'll be good to go, fleeing with comparative ease, even without actually killing anyone. Last but not least, it's Big Bathroom, Touch the Sky. I'm not sure anyone plays this heist properly anymore, and one fair way to cheese this one is to go loud, grab a civilian, activate the solid skill, and watch in awe as an entire police force fails to comprehend the most simple hostage situation known to man. Then do all the objective stuff during the fade and the assault. Easy. But we can do much better than that. My approach to this heist now is to rapidly locate the lead guard, with one of his frequent early spawns being just outside this window. Whilst retaining stealth, I like to tie down this sieve, break and jump out of the window, which is surprisingly silent, before starting to hack the lead guard's phone. From there I choke him out, drop the body and hack the red keycard door immediately, avoiding having to wait for Bile and the thermite altogether. From there we can happily go loud and stand in more circles whilst trading civilians to extend negotiation. Yes, you can trade Mason, as we don't need him for this strategy. As soon as the master bedroom is unlocked, I head up to the panic room before the assault gets going and drop a microcam on the right side of this door just opposite the top of the handle. From there you can use the camera and swing it around through the geometry of the map to copy down the potential codes without ever forcing an entrance. Keep in mind this is only possible when playing with a field of view higher than 70. I then run over to secure the hard drive from the safe, and thanks to my endless Moscone build, tear my way through every cop in the way. Let's be honest here, just using the Moscone on a heist like this one is already paramount to cheese. If you do this correctly, the first assault wave should be ending around about the time when you have to rush back to call in the escape, allowing you to hold out the final minute or so until Baal's arrival, and clear this heist in under 10 minutes solo. And that is breaking Payday 3. Cheesing every heist and ruining the carefully crafted objectives that were years in the making. I've always enjoyed these sorts of videos when played up for absolute masterpieces like the Soul series, so don't take this the wrong way. There is fun in trying to break a game and stretch it to its conceptual limits. Unfortunately, right now, doing so in Payday 3 does involve some pretty suspect tactics, but at the same time, some of the strategies I've used, like the Golden Shark Roof trick and Dirty Ice Manager trick, will likely remain viable and fair ways to play the game moving forwards. From my perspective on this channel though, without any news on new content coming to the game, I plan to play out a couple of additional challenges, cover the story so far, and then sit back and wait for some actual tangible updates. In the meantime, I'll be making my triumphant return to Payday 2 sooner than expected to solve some practical problems over there. Let me know what you think that means. Take care, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video. A huge thank you to my dedicated Patreon backers. If you want to join this crew in going infamous, check out the link below and pledge as little as $2 to see your name in the credits, or get 24-hour early access to future videos and vote on upcoming content. Take care, I'll see you all soon.